Many Zimbabweans believed that by their government compensating white farmers who had lost their land and developments on those lands during the land reform program, our government would normalize relationships with the West, sanctions would end, and prosperity would come back to Zimbabwe. But unfortunately, things have not worked out that simply. Because right now we are understanding that there's two groups that have not accepted the 3.5 billion US dollar compensation, asking for their own separate agreements and deals that are more suitable to their demands. These two groups include the SADC Tribunal Farmers Group and the BIPA Farmers Group. The SADC Tribunal Farmers Group is a group of farmers that approached the SADC Tribunal to reverse the land reform program and to give them restoration of their farms and damages for whatever they had lost during the period upon which their farms had been taken. The BIPA Group are a group of foreign farmers and investors and companies that went to their governments, particularly European governments, asking them to negotiate agreements with the Zimbabwean government for them to invest in Zimbabwe with the protection of what are called bilateral investment promotion protection agreements that would protect their properties from expropriation or nationalization when those countries started to nationalize property. One of the major reasons why these BIPA agreements were signed is because most of the countries and individuals who came to invest in Zimbabwe came from countries that had enjoyed the benefits of colonialism and exploitation in Africa. And they feared that if they invested in African countries, they were likely to lose their investments when Africans decided to nationalize resources or assets that belonged to former colonizers. And so to protect their interest, they signed BIPA agreements with the government of Zimbabwe. Now these farmers want compensation for their land or restitution of their land and payment for damages for property that was lost during land expropriation. What we need to understand is, are these BIPA agreements legal? To determine whether these BIPA agreements are legal, we first of all have to establish whether the government of Zimbabwe ever had the rights to own property in Zimbabwe that they can sell or lease to form these BIPA agreements that were formed. And to determine that, we have to go back to the origins of the establishment of the state of Zimbabwe. The state of Zimbabwe was created in 1980 as a juristic entity. But what is interesting is that this juristic entity was created after the ending of colonialism, which was a crime against humanity. And when this crime against humanity created by foreign laws, minority laws, ended, the Zimbabwean government did not reconstitute the old governance system that was used in 1890 before colonialism started. Instead, they created a juristic entity created by foreign laws or minority laws that mirrored the colonial laws and the colonial system. So where did the Zimbabwean government get land from? Did the Zimbabwean government create new land? Did the Zimbabwean government buy land? Did the Zimbabwean government pay restitution to those who were dispossessed of the land that it was now giving away and leasing away in these BIPA agreements? The Zimbabwean government did not create new land, but it inherited the right to control land from the colonial system of the Rhodesian government. But there is one problem with this. The Rhodesian government never had legal right to control the land, property, and mineral rights of Zimbabwe through the crime against humanity of colonialism. Even though the Rhodesian government came through the British South Africa Company and stole the property of Zimbabweans, stole their land, stole their cows, stole their minerals, stole their control of their own labor, at no point did the Rhodesian government have legal title over the land, the minerals, resources, and labor of the Zimbabwean people through this crime against humanity of colonialism. This is why when the colonial order ended and Zimbabwe was created, the Zimbabwean government could not inherit property rights, land rights, or any other rights that had been gained by criminal activity according to common law. But what should have happened is that all property rights in Zimbabwe should have reverted back to the order that was there in 1890 before colonialism started. This means that the land rights in Zimbabwe should have gone back to the chiefs and the kings who controlled the property rights of the Zimbabwean people in custodianship for the Zimbabwean people. But this was not the case. Zimbabwe continued the crime against humanity of colonialism by assuming control of land, the rights to the minerals, the rights to water and all resources in Zimbabwe, even though the government that had ceded them these rights never had those rights in the first place. So this brings us back to the question, did the Zimbabwean government have the right to sell any land to these BIPA agreements? The answer is no. Did the Zimbabwean government ever have any rights to give over the labor of the Zimbabwean people to these BIPA agreements? The answer is no. So these BIPA agreements should be voidable according to common law. You cannot have agreements or sales agreements or leases on stolen property, particularly when the Zimbabwean government never paid reparations or never paid restitution for the land and property that it was now passing on to colonial charter companies that came in the form of these BIPA agreements. We also have to ask ourselves, why are the Zimbabwean people being made to pay compensation for so-called developments on stolen land and stolen land that is currently in the control of most of the politicians that are making the laws of this compensation, and these politicians are enjoying these developments in their own personal capacity while Zimbabweans are suffering? Zimbabweans have had no food self-security or no food self-sufficiency over the past 20 years. Yet politicians are holding on to the lands that have these developments which are not being used to feed the Zimbabwean people. We need to deal with the legality of BIPA and the legality of compensating white farmers for developments that are being enjoyed in the personal capacity of certain politicians who have a conflict of interest when they begin to ask the Zimbabwean people to pay compensation through laws that they are making to serve their own personal interest.